Going to Kansas City. If I could, I could, I could, I could. I'm going to Kansas.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Chopping It Up with the Cleavers. My name is Emmanuel Cleaver III.
And I'm Emil Cleaver.
Check us out. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with the Cleavers. You can check us out most places you get your podcast.
So we've been gone for a while, but we're back.
And a lot's been going on. Of course, the big news, one of the top news stories is that Donald Trump and his co-defendants were found liable for fraud. Basically, dude was lying about how much money he had, which is nothing new. People have suspected that for years. So now the trial's going on to determine how much.
Right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
As we speak.
Yep, right now, to determine how much he's going to pay. And some have said, this could break the Trump organization.
We will see.
That is the hope. That is the hope. So I don't know, but it seems like it just took a long time. But finally, I'm still of the belief he's going to use his attorneys, and I don't think much is going to happen. I don't have any faith in our not that I don't have faith in the prosecutor, but just our system.
There's a good chance that he will be the next president of the United States.
Well, I don't know. Some people, even some of his gang, they're starting to shy away from it now.
He's still leading the Republicans by far. No one's even close. So he still has a pretty good chance. I wouldn't doubt it if he was the president again. So
man, that'd be rough. I know Chris Christie keeps challenging him. Chris Christie called him Donald Duck, which I don't think that's the first time he called him that.
Yeah, nobody laughed.
Yeah.
He said it as a joke and nobody laughed.
Well, he's not a really funny kind of dude, so it's no surprise. But we'll see what's happening. We'll keep posted on that because I know a lot of people want to see him behind bars. I'm just not. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. I don't think, he's not going behind bars for that. It's just a matter of how much he's going to pay. But there's still other legal issues out there.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I think he's going to get a slap on the wrist. And honestly, I think if something does happen, that's going to be the start of a civil war.
Yeah, because his worshipers aren't going to just sit back and allow him to go down. Because, this is not a criminal trial, I don't believe. So, but if he ever did go down criminally and sentenced to prison, I can't see that happening.
Even if he is forced to pay something, I think his followers would be upset that he's not technically a billionaire. I don't know if he ever was, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to be surprised if he's the next president of the United States.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I think the thing is, whenever he gets in trouble, he'll lie and say, they did this to me, and the people believe it. I know somebody who plays golf with someone who's convinced, this is a black person, convinced that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. Here's my thing about the election was stolen. He was the president. So if it was stolen, and it was not stolen, but if it was stolen, it's his fault. He was the president, man.
Yeah,
he's a weak president then.
He should have been able to do something. If he was the president and you let somebody come in and steal it from you, that shows
he doesn't deserve to be president.
Yeah.
It'd be different if a Democrat were president and he said they stole it, but he was the president. He was in place. The attorney general he appointed. All of these things. So I'm not
special
trying to
time
hear all
in
that.
history. Donald Trump will go down in history as one of the most infamous, famous Americans ever.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. He's going to be one of the most famous presidents, one of the most famous New Yorkers, one of the most famous Floridians, one of the most famous people, period.
And now they'll be talking about him studying what he did.
Movies, books,
movies.
Documentaries. 100 years from now, they'll be talking about Donald Trump.
No question.
And that's what he wants.
No question. He is going down in the history books. And depending on where you stand will determine, if it's good or bad. But I think hundreds of years from now, when society looks back, they're going to see the damage that he did. I think it will be reported as it really happened, that when he came to power, he divided this country even more than what it was already divided. I think that's going to be in history books. Not in the first, and not in the beginning, because he'll have too many worshipers that won't allow that stuff to be taught.
Yeah, he may have worshipers 100 years from now.
I think as human beings evolve, they're going to see just how bad he was for the earth, not just the United States. I think years from now, it's not going to happen right away. 20 years from now, there'll be still people saying he was the greatest thing that ever happened to this country, maybe to the world. In human history, he's the greatest thing. But I think after we've had a chance to really see the damage that he has caused, I don't think it'll be hard. It'll be hard to deny that. I mean, just think about it, how people on the right loved Ronald Reagan, and they still do, but he doesn't have that flair that he once had, because they the Republican Party is completely different than Ronald Reagan's day.
Yeah, I mean, he still does. Mike Pence is running, that's his platform. He's running that he's the Reagan candidate. He's the closest thing to Ronald Reagan since Ronald Reagan.
I believe it.
Is what he's running on. He has no chance.
Ronald Reagan was a racist, so is that what Pence is saying? Is that his code to all those people out there, those undercover racists, saying, hey, I'm a racist just like he was?
Yeah, I don't know if he's saying like Ronald Reagan. I mean, the fact that was Trump's vice president, I think that just said a lot. And the stuff that he went along with, he claims to be some great Christian.
He doesn't even go out to eat lunch with other women because of his Christian values.
Yeah.
I guess he understands himself. I guess going to lunch with somebody is too big of a temptation. So.
Yeah, that just says a lot about him. It doesn't say a lot about his faith. To me, dude, weirdo. Dude,
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, yeah, he is different. He won't be president.
No.
He doesn't have the charisma, personality.
Yeah,
It's DeSantis and Trump. Those are the two that's duking it out. Chris Christie, I think he knows he doesn't have a chance.
I think some of them are just applying for vice president, jumps for vice president. I think that's what Tim Scott is doing.
Yeah, I think
Because he has no chance, and he knows it.
Yeah, he probably is vying for the vice presidency that his running mate. But I think if he really thought about it, he'd discover he'd hurt the ticket more than help. But speaking of Scott,
Trump isn't going to pick him.
I know. You don't think he'd pick him?
No, he's not going to pick Tim Scott.
He's going to pick. He'd pick a woman, I think.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. But speaking of Tim Scott, so I don't know if you watched it. I only saw like 5 minutes of that last Republican debate, but I saw enough to see Tim Scott look at the camera and declare that America is not a racist country.
When did it end? Did he say when it ended?
He gave this long speech and then said no. But I think in his mind, he's like, well, there's no slavery. Jim Crow is illegal. So what? You can live wherever you want. You can go to school wherever you want. So in his mind, he's like, where's this racism that you see?
Yeah, he probably doesn't understand systemic racism. And he doesn't think the Proud Boys are racist.
So maybe
nobody asked him any. Well, I guess the Republican.
Yeah,
the
they're not
Republican
gonna follow
debate.
up. They don't care.
They're not going to ask that.
I mean, but yeah. So I would say I would ask him. I think he would say that there are racist people, but they are
deep, Tim. Deep. That's deep, Tim.
But they are in the minority. As a whole, America is a God-fearing, loving, kind, and just nation. It's the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Do you think Tim Scott loves himself, or does he really have trouble sleeping at night?
Well, yeah. I mean, so you're asking me, does it bother him that he sides with racism, or doesn't notice it?
I'm asking you, do you think it bothers him that he wakes up in the morning and looks in the mirror and says, "Look who I've become"?
No, I mean, I think it might bother him that he wakes up in the mirror and looks in the mirror and sees that he's black. I mean, I think that might bother him. But no, I mean, it'd be interesting. So I know I saw the documentary on Clarence Thomas, so I understand why he doesn't like black people. Not that I agree with it. Not that I agree with it.
What happened? What happened?
That's a long story.
Somebody beat him up as a kid.
Well, I mean, his dark skin, so colorism in the black community.
They were calling him Blackie.
Yeah, and then he goes to an all-white institution, a school, before college, and he didn't quite fit in because it was all white. He was black. And then he went to, when he got whatever Ivy League school he got in because of affirmative action, then I think he always felt less than because I'm here on affirmative action and these other people know it. So he feels like he was never accepted. Mm-hmm. So I think in his mind, the only way that they will see us as equal is we have to get rid of things like affirmative action.
But they still gonna look at him. He was part of it. No matter what he gets rid of, they'll never look at him as equal.
They'll look at it because he's like, well, see, he dismantled it in higher education. So he might get some props because he did that. I don't know.
No matter what you do, here's what they think of you.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you still.
But I'm wondering what kind of, what his upbringing was. So I don't know what brought him to this thing. No, that was Clarence Thomas. Oh. I don't know why Tim Scott is a racist or sides with racism. I'm not going to call him a racist. I don't know. If he's not, I don't. He definitely not going to become president.
Yeah, I guess
they're not going to invite. People aren't going to vote for a bachelor black man as the president. Come on, man.
Yeah,
that ain't going to happen. They'll be afraid of what he might do. But yeah, so I'm curious what caused him to go in this direction. But I would say to Tim Scott.
What you gonna say?
I would say to him, man.
Please come on the show, Tim.
Because I know you're a big fan of the show. You watch it all the time.
We'd love to have you sit down with us.
You sit down right here, and I'm going to ask you, if America's not a racist country, why do we have payday loan places that prey on poor communities, black and brown? You don't see those payday loan places in the suburbs. And the fact that state legislators let these payday loan places charge whatever they want in black and brown communities. Redlining might be illegal. It was made illegal in the late 60s, but it still exists. I mean, we can go on and on, Tim. So it just says that his constituent, he must not have any constituents that come and say, hey, we're dealing with a lot out here. In his mind, I can go to the schools I want, I can get a job. I have just as much access. So maybe in his mind, it's like pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I think the people around him are yes men, yes women. Because obviously nobody's telling him the truth. If they were, they would tell him, don't run for president. You're going to embarrass yourself in front of the world.
But he can only make a name for himself running. I mean, how will it hurt where he is right now to run?
It shows the world his goofiness.
Yeah.
He is goofy.
But
I don't like to call people names, but he's goofy. Come on. I think we can all admit he's goofy.
But the people who elected him already know that. So that's what I'm saying.
The people that elected him, they look at him more like a mascot. He's more like, I don't know, the Missouri Tigers, and it's like wherever he's South Carolina Tim Scott's. It's just he's a mascot to them. They don't.
But why would they? So if that were the case, then there would have to be a puppet master to make sure he did the right thing.
Yes, there is somebody that is controlling Tim Scott. I don't know who that is, but
what do you base that off of? Just because you don't think he could get elected otherwise?
Well, yeah, I don't think he can get elected. I don't think he has the knowledge of the world to.
You base that just off of his speeches. He doesn't have knowledge of the world.
No, He doesn't have the proper knowledge of the word. No, I mean, obviously he doesn't. If he says there's no racism, he obviously doesn't
Well,
have
he
knowledge of
said
the
he
word.
didn't say there was no racism. He said America was not a racist country.
Okay. He doesn't have knowledge of the world. He doesn't have
You
knowledge
talking about
of
the world? What about the United States? Does he have knowledge of the United States?
Well, I mean, no. The fact that he's up there smiling at a Republican convention, man. What's he
So you
smiling
can't
for,
smile at a
man?
Republican convention.
He can't smile.
What if he smiles but doesn't show teeth?
He showed his teeth. He showed his. Yeah, he's a goofy dude, man. I don't understand him. He's making a mockery of black South Carolina. He's from South Carolina, and I don't know. One of them Carolinas, I don't know, man.
He's
an
from.
embarrassment.
If you're from South Carolina and you don't believe that America is a racist country, I mean that he must have seen something. He must know some things that the rest of us don't know.
Yeah.
To say that, I mean, you're talking about South Carolina.
He hasn't seen anything. Yeah, he hasn't seen anything. He's seen some people get hanged and his friends get abused. He probably jumped on him too. Yeah, get him.
It doesn't look like he's married.
Oh, he can't win. I don't think have they ever elected a single president?
Yeah, I mean, not in the TV era. No, I don't think. I mean, let me see, because the TV era, I mean, really came alive with Kennedy.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think so. I mean, maybe in the old days.
Yeah, I'm sure when, the news didn't travel, you didn't have 24-hour news cycles, there may have been. But yeah, that's going to be a strike against him, whether that's fair or not. It just
Strike against. He has no chance.
whether he was married or not.
It doesn't matter who he's married to. Oh, Tim Scott, man. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you, brother. He probably gets mad if I call him a brother. Don't call me that. We're all people. I don't know. That's how he talks.
Yeah,
Oh,
kind of.
Timmy.
Kind of.
Come to the show, Tim, please.
Yeah, because I really, but my in all seriousness, I'm just thinking of people like Tim Scott and Candace Owens and what's the other guy who's like the leader of the Black Racism Doesn't Exist.
Lee Elder.
Yeah, Lee Elder. I've seen him on a lot of shows recently.
He sells books.
Yeah, somebody asked him. He said, if you say, Lee Elder, you say that the problems in the black community all relate to absentee fathers. So the interviewer asked, it was on a black podcast, she asked, what are you doing to help black fathers? And he would not answer that question until she acknowledged that there was a problem with black fathers. And she's like, I'm just saying what you said. You said it, so tell us what you're doing. Either you're just naming a problem or you're doing something about it. Which one? He never said.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's a critique of the black community, but he has no answers, no solution, which is sad that a black man would critique the black community and not have any suggestion of how to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard him say things like, I mean, in essence, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You're not enslaved anymore. Jim Crow doesn't exist. So why don't you get out and get something? But again, my thing is like, what is the upbringing? How do people arrive? How does somebody black arrive at that conclusion? That
Something
America
traumatic
is
happened
not
in their life.
racist.
Something traumatic happened in their life, changed the way they think, and now they hate black people.
Part of me wants to say, you also know, I mean, you can find fame and fortune if you're a black person that is against the black movement.
Easily.
You're going to get recognition. I mean, you have people, the sports writer who does it, who hates all black athletes. There's going to be a place. So I wonder if some of that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, you want to be famous and rich, go against the grain. I mean, there's something to that. Absolutely.
Some other big news, real big news, is after 25, 26, 27 years,
However long time.
an arrest has finally been made in the murder of Tupac Shakur. So
Keefe D.
Also, his real name, Dwayne Davis, Keefe D. Here's the thing about it. So Keefe D was arrested and charged. It said that he didn't actually pull the trigger, but he was the mastermind. He's the one who came up with the plan for it. Here's the question I have. You know the same thing, and anybody who's been out there watching hip-hop podcasts or interviews, this is nothing new. We've known this for a long time. He's been saying this for years.
Yes, he has.
For years. We knew Orlando Anderson, the guy that they jumped, Tupac and Suge. They jumped at that fight, at Tyson's fight at the hotel. We've known for years that he was the one that pulled the trigger. At least that's what was reported.
He was in the car. We knew he was associated with him, the killer.
And we've known for years that Keefe D was in the car because he brags about it.
He has said it many times.
The only reason he's famous is because for the several years he's been saying he was in the car.
Yeah.
So the question, why now? So I don't know if you've heard any theories.
Well, there's rumors now. There's a few rumors, and then this is just a rumor, that there is an executive in New York who has been tied to this. I don't think that's true. A music executive in New York.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I guess he just got the key to the city in New York, and I guess it was just a timing thing. This is rumors on the podcasts and the blogs that it's coming down, that Keefe D said that this producer in New York hired them to do that. But Keefe D is I don't think it's honest. He's saying that Orlando Anderson pulled the trigger, but there are witnesses who were saying that Keefe D actually is the one who pulled the trigger, just according to the arm that came out of the window. They're saying that the arm that came out of the window with the gun was a fat arm, was a big arm. Mm-hmm. Orlando Anderson was a thin guy. He was a slim guy. Keefe D's arm is big. So, I mean, people are saying that it was him, and he's just blaming it on Orlando Anderson, who's dead, unrelated.
And the other person in the car is dead as well.
There were 3 people in the car. Keefe D's the only one alive.
So he can say whatever he wants.
But he's obviously hasn't watched Law and Order and other movies. It doesn't matter if you didn't pull the trigger. You were with the person, so you're part of it. It doesn't. He thinks because he didn't pull the trigger, I guess he's going to get away. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. A man was killed. You were with them. You were driving in the car, riding in the car. You were with the person. You said nothing for however long to the police. I mean, you said it to the podcast for some reason.
Well, we know why. It's fame. People know who he is.
Yeah, it was a book, and so just making money.
But so I haven't heard that theory, and
I don't know. I mean, that's just a wild theory. That's why I didn't say the name, because no proof of that yet.
The other was just a conspiracy theory that it's a distraction to distract us from the Donald Trump trial and all of that. I don't know about that, because
I don't think
Donald Trump trial probably trumps everything.
Yeah, and and like you said, most people already know. I mean, if you've been keeping up with anything, you watched any hip hop documentaries, blogs. I mean, it was pretty clear that the guy that Tupac beat up with his entourage that night was involved with this murder. I mean, people have known that for years. It's been out there, so I mean, it's not really a surprise. So I don't think it's much of a distraction.
But the question still is, why now? I mean, did it take all these years when he's admitted it?
Yeah.
So it's strange that it would happen now, 27 years later.
I'm not sure why.
It did make news. I mean, it was something that after all this time, he was arrested. I haven't heard, has he made a statement about anything? I haven't heard anything.
No, he hasn't made a statement yet. I mean, he's made all the statements online, so if I were him, I would hope that he would be, well, I don't care if he's, he can go to jail for the rest of his, prison for the rest of his life, as far as I'm concerned, but. Yeah, he hasn't said anything, so we'll see what happens. We'll see.
That's wild. But yeah, that's another story. Keeping up with. So Trump's on trial.
It's too bad that his mother isn't around to see it.
Yeah.
His sister's still, Tupac's sister's still here, but his mother passed not too long ago, a couple years ago maybe. But yeah, she's not around. I mean, his brother's still here, his sister's still here. They can see it. So I'll be interested to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
They haven't spoke about it yet, but
The other is, of course, Biggie's murder, and we've heard all sorts of things about who actually did that. You know, some former LAPD
yeah, but
officers.
there's no. It's not like Tupac's
Right.
murder where most people know
Right.
who did it. And Biggie's murder is still
Some theories.
it's still unsolved.
Yeah, but this is Tupac. We know this is nothing new.
We're in Kansas City. We knew this.
Yeah. But it's definitely a story to keep up with. Like you said, I'd be interested to hear what his family's saying, especially now that his father's been doing interviews. You seen it with
Yeah.
Tupac's father?
Yeah.
Now he's become famous.
A lot of people thought his father was dead because for years. And then I guess during the movie, when they made the movie, he started coming around. And there was a story on the internet, one of the blogs, that he came up there to the movie when they were shooting the Tupac movie, and they were like, Tupac's father's here. Well, I thought he was dead, and they found out that he wasn't. You know, I guess there were lies of who his real father was, but yeah, his father's alive. I mean, if you see him, he looks like him. They favor. But yeah, he's going around doing his interviews now, and people are mad. Some people are mad about it. Some people,
Why?
well,
Because he wasn't there.
Yeah,
but
because he
but his
wasn't
mother
there.
told, from what I understand,
Yeah, his
Tupac's mother, Afeni, told Tupac that his father was dead.
Right.
So
And
how
that's
can
why
you be mad at
that's
him?
why Tupac accepted him into his life before he died.
Right. If Tupac wasn't mad, I don't know how anybody else could be mad. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but that's people.
Yeah, you can't try to be logical with people online.
So a lot's going on. Still 50 years of hip hop. Shows all over. You can check some stuff out online. I would just suggest, if you haven't seen any of these shows, check them out. They're all over. I mean, it is a great time for hip hop music. A lot of people doing new music because of this 50-year celebration. We've had some celebrations here in Kansas City, but they've been all over. So it's a good thing. So staying with that theme of 50 years of hip hop, today we're going to do the top 5 hip hop movies. Top 5 hip hop movies.
Our favorite top 5.
Oh yeah, our 5. Yeah. So because people start arguing, it's always funny. You're going to argue me what I like best.
So this one is hard. So
It is.
It's not gonna. My list would probably change another day. But number 5, I'll put "Do the Right Thing." And when we say hip hop movie, it's not necessarily a movie about rappers, but it's hip hop themed. The music, especially back then, you know, hip hop being the soundtrack was rare in the 80s and 90s. But hip hop theme, hip hop base, made for a hip hop audience. The culture in the movie is from hip hop. Hip hop has more than music. It's dance, the
Style, dress,
the DJs,
language.
yeah. So I mean, it's all of that, and it's all incorporated into a movie. And these are some of the movies: "Do the Right Thing," Spike Lee, one of the greatest rap songs, one of the greatest songs. Period. Was the I guess this was part of the soundtrack. Public Enemies, "Fight the Power." The video was great. Spike Lee directed the video, but. Great movie. "Do the Right Thing." Young black people in the 90s, kind of gives you a view into that lifestyle. Number 4, I'm gonna go old school. It's Beat Street.
Beat Street. Can't get the beat.
Just because it was one of the first hip hop movies, and it gave you a look into the dance. It gave you a look into the graffiti. It gave you into a look at the DJ. It gave you a look into just the whole culture, the battling, everything. Beat Street was a great movie at that time. I mean, probably some people may think it was corny, parts of it, But yeah, it was a good movie, and it was it's a good introduction into hip hop, and that was a movie about hip hop artists, hip hop graffiti dancers,
Hip hop
MCs,
culture,
and DJs. So number 3, I'm gonna put Juice, Tupac's feature film debut, and that was half about street culture, half about DJing, rap culture. It was great movie, coming of age movie. Omar Epps made his career. Like I said, Tupac's debut in acting. The soundtrack, great soundtrack.
Yeah.
The music to it was great. A lot of rappers appeared in those movies. And in all the movies that I've said so far, Beat Street, there were a lot of rappers, young rappers, making their first appearances. Kool Moe Dee, Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, a lot of other rappers. So, but Juice is number 3. Number 2, Menace to Society. Just was watching an interview with the directors, the Hughes brothers. Coming of age movie in a rough part of South Central LA. A lot of rappers featured in that movie. The rumor was that the Hughes brothers couldn't get that movie made unless they had a platinum selling rapper attached to the project. So they wanted to get Tupac involved, and there was a big deal about it. Tupac got into a fight with the directors. He was kicked out of the movie. But they had Too Short, who was a platinum selling rapper. MC8 was a gold selling. Spice One was part of the soundtrack. So they had a lot of rappers involved with that project anyway. Great movie. Some people would probably put it number 1, but my number 1, the one that got it kicked off, stylistically great movie, cinematically, the writing, everything was, and it was probably out of all of these, it was the best technically made movie. Boys in the Hood, the late John Singleton, Ice Cube's first starring role into movies, and he's gone on to do great things. But another coming of age movie, and I used to be able to quote every line in that movie. Great movie. Ice Cube, Boys in the Hood, number 1. Cuba Gooding Jr. kind of wasn't his first role, but it kind of was catapulted his career. I would
set
say.
him up.
Morris Chestnut too, kind of got his career going.
Yeah, so I had some similar stuff, and it's hard. Like I said, like you said, mine will probably change because I'm sure there's some stuff. If I watch it again, I'm like, yeah, that's probably number 1. So I'm gonna do number 5, House Party, with Kid and Play.
A good movie, good dance movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, that was a coming of age movie. If you were in high school watching Kid and Play, I mean, it was good because you're seeing hip hop artists in a movie, and they're the stars of it. And the movie is centered all around them. Of course, they have that classic, their battle. What was the name of that song? It's something called Battle, where they battle each other in the rhyme, which I thought was cool. And they did that in the party. Battle Rhyme, I think that's what it's called, where they go back and forth. And that was on their album. And of course, the dance, and everybody tried to do the Kid and Play dance.
Everybody.
Whether they were the originators of it or not, I don't know.
Yeah, they
but
made it famous.
Everybody, you say the Kid and Play dance, everybody knows what you're talking about. So I had to put House Party in there. I also have at number 4, I'm gonna put Crush Groove. No, it was not the best cinematography. It was not, it was a low budget movie, but it had everybody in it, from LL to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, from Curtis Blow.
But the music scenes were great.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
The acting and all that may have been funny and all that, but the music scenes were undeniable.
Yeah, yeah. LL's part when he busted in the room, a classic, that he busted in and said, box, and then starts rapping. So, I mean, yeah, it was a coming of age. I mean, I came of age when I saw the movie. I think we were in 8th grade when that movie came out. And just to see all these everybody, the Fat Boys, it's hard not to put that, for me, up there.
It was a great movie.
Simply because it had all of these. I mean, these were the biggest rap artists at the time. Not just some, they were Run DMC, they were the kings.
Yeah, they were it.
And the Fat Boys were probably one of the first commercially groups to cross over.
Yeah.
I mean, doing songs with the Beach Boys. They were
They
doing
went on
commercials for
They went on to
Swatch.
do a lot of movies themselves.
Yeah. So
Successful movies.
I have Crush Groove in there. Number 3, I'm gonna put Beat Street. Just for the same reasons, man. It had everything: the graffiti, which is a pivotal part of hip hop, the graffiti, the breakdancing, the DJing, all of that, and just seeing the behind the scenes of somebody trying to make it as a DJ, as an artist.
That was the first time.
Was something good. So for number 2, this is where it gets a little challenging, but for number 2, I'd put Boys in the Hood as well. Just one, the movie was titled after a song, Boys in the Hood.
From Ice Cube.
That Ice Cube wrote. And Ice Cube told about when he first met John Singleton. Have you heard this story where John, he didn't know who John Singleton was. He hadn't made a movie. He just finished film school. He comes up to Ice Cube, says, I want to make a movie. It's called Boys in the Hood. I want you to be in it. And Ice Cube's like, okay. So Ice Cube reads for the part, and John Singleton says, that's terrible. And Ice Cube at that point realized, okay, this is different from rapping. So he had to go back and practice. Well, the rest is history. Boys in the Hood goes on to do what it went on to do. Number 1 is also connected with Ice Cube, and that's Straight Outta Compton. I have to put that number 1 because
It's a good movie.
It tells the story of NWA, and NWA changed hip-hop, changed music, I think, more than any other group. If you've seen Special Ed, he's received some flack because, and I watched the interview.
Yeah.
So
he
the
didn't
interview
necessarily blame it on
said,
NWA.
so the headline, so it was just one of those headlines to get you to click. The headline says, Special Ed says NWA ruined hip-hop, something like that. Well, he never said that. Never said that. But what NWA did when they came along and they sold millions of albums just off of underground stuff, then all these record labels, these top record labels said, this is what we have. So they were only looking for people, we need you to do what NWA did. If you were rapping positive, and that changed the industry. Common actually has a song about it. I used to love her. When NWA came along, it changed the industry completely.
The whole industry.
It wasn't their fault. It was the industry saying,
They took advantage of it.
right. And so that's why you had the influx of all this, what came known as gangster rap, because of the success of NWA. So the fact that Straight Outta Compton tells the movie of one of the most important groups of hip hop is my reason for having to put it at number 1.
And I can understand that. I didn't put any of the newer movies in there
Yeah.
just because they haven't. I guess I need time to grow on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good one to Breaking. Had to add that in there for honorable mention. All Eyes on Me, the Tupac movie.
8 Mile.
Put that 8 Mile was a good one. That was close to being in my top 5. 50 Cent.
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Was another good one. So yeah, there are a few of them that we didn't name, but
Yeah, let us know what you think. What hip hop movies did we leave out that needed to be included in this? Let us know your thoughts. Put it in the chats. Like our podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with the Cleavers on YouTube. Check us out most places you get your podcasts. Next week, we're going to talk about how you can get some merchandise. Chopping It Up with Cleaver t-shirts. Next podcast. So we have some merchandise coming
soon.
and some
Long awaited.
and some other things that we're working on. But we'll check you out next time. Peace. Chopping It Up with the Cleavers.
Peace.
I'm modest.